Hi, first graders. It's nice to see you. I wanted to share with you a creation story. We are going to be presenting our Native American project soon. So I thought going along with that, I'd read you a Native American story. This is called Native North Americans and the World of Night. And the title is The Birth of Light. It's by the Yuchi, a southeastern tribe. So if you can imagine southeast of California, in the area of Arizona and New Mexico. That's around the area where the Yuchi tribe would have lived, okay? So here is a story about the birth of light. In the time before light, the world was covered with water. There was darkness everywhere. Close your eyes for a moment and picture that. What would the earth have looked like if it were completely dark and there was only water? Do you have that image in your head? Only wind moved across earth back then. Who will make land? Wind asked. Then crayfish came up out of the dark waters of night. I will make land, crayfish said. Crayfish went down below the water and stirred up the mud with his tail. He piled the mud with his claws until land began to appear above the water. But as crayfish did this, the old ones, who were the keepers of the land beneath the water, saw what was happening. Who is making land appear above the water? Said the old ones, and they watched and saw that it was crayfish. Why did they care? We must stop this, the old one said. But when they came after crayfish, he stirred up the waters with his tail, so that the water was dark with mud, and the old ones could not find him as he worked. At last he was done enough. The land rose up above the water. Then wind blew over the land, but wind was not satisfied. He wasn't content. He wasn't happy. The land is not dry, wind said. Who will dry the land? Then Great Buzzard appeared. Great Buzzard flew above the land, fanning the earth and drying it with its wings. Where his wings beat downward, the valley appeared. Where his wings beat upward, the hills and the mountains rose. Now this is the only picture in the whole story. I'm going to share it with you. Can you imagine that? The pressure and the flapping of his wings causing hills and mountains and valleys to form. Valleys being the low portions, hills and mountains being the high. Kind of cool, right? Now the land was dry, but there was still darkness everywhere. Everywhere there was night. Who will make light appear? Said the wind. I will do so, said Star. Then Star shone in the sky, but the light of Star was so weak that it did not go far. More of Star's sisters and brothers appeared in the night sky. But even though they were beyond counting, their light was not enough. It still remained night on the new earth. So close your eyes for a moment. And what do we have? What can you see? Can you imagine the mass of land that has risen above the water? Yes. And formed hills and mountains and valleys, but still no light. So now there's a separation between land and water. Who will make more light? Wind asked. I will do so, said Moon. And then Moon shone down, but as light was not enough. There was more light on the new earth, but it was still night. Cho, the sun, spoke then. I will make enough light for everyone, she said. And then Sun went to the east and began to shine down upon the earth. Now, do you remember that the sun rises in the east and sets in the west? As she moved across the sky, daylight came to the world for the first time. Sun tried so hard that some of her sweat fell upon the earth. Where that sweat fell, the first people sprang up. They were the Yuchi, the children of the sun. So that is just one culture's creation story about how the earth came to be, how there was a separation between water and land, how light was formed, and now people came into existence as well. All right, I hope you enjoyed that story. You probably know some creation stories of your own. Maybe you can ask your parents if they're familiar with any creation stories. All right, thanks for joining me. Hope you enjoyed the short story.